Ready? Thank you, Governor-elect Judy. Good evening, Sir Optimus, and welcome. Tonight, I will be your facilitator as we explore agendas. In a recent survey, one of the top responses former members gave about why club meetings were not enjoyable was that the meetings were not productive. One way to help improve your own club meeting is to have an awesome agenda. So why is an agenda important in a business meeting? The agenda indicates what will be discussed, makes sure that a meeting stays on track, and everyone knows what is going to happen next. Without an agenda in place, meetings can easily go off track and in some cases become chaotic. As a result, important business may not be completed. And I know this never happens in any of your meetings. Another important thing is draft your agenda. Think about the purpose of the meeting, make your list of topics that need to be covered, double check the list to make sure a certain topic needs to be on your agenda, or could it be covered in a committee meeting or at a board meeting? Look at topics that are updates and could be shared by email or other methods of communication. Involve your members. If you want members to invest their time and energy in a club meeting, ask them if they have anything they feel is important to be addressed at the upcoming meeting. They may have an item of concern that you didn't realize needed to be discussed, or they may have a brilliant idea, like a fantastic fundraiser, just waiting to be shared. Think about timing. Look at the items on the agenda and consider the amount of time each will take. For example, if you're brainstorming about finalizing the DIBI curriculum, will it take 5 minutes or 15 minutes? Put a time limit next to each item. If there is a topic that looks like it needs considerable amount of time, consider holding a separate meeting or delegate to a committee who can handle the task. If a member is expected to give a report, let her know how much time she has. Provide the agenda in advance. Send out the final agenda and the accompanying materials 5 to 7 days in advance to everyone in the club so they have time to review before they come to the meeting. Most important, follow the agenda. Your time and the time of your club members is valuable. Now, Governor-elect Judy's going to put a sample of Robert's Rules of Order agenda up, which we'll talk about for us to create your own awesome agenda.
Can everyone see the file I shared?
No.
I
You
can't.
don't? Anybody?
No, I'm just seeing myself.
It's in the chat, sorry.
Oh.
You have to, sorry, if you think it's on the screen. It's in the chat. There's a link to the file.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to share it, Barbara?
Yeah, I want you to share it. Can you share it?
Okay, yeah, give me a second. I can't do that.
Okay, in the chat, they could download it
Yes.
or have it. Yeah.
Let me find it. Okay.
There we go.
Can you see it?
There you go. Okay, everybody see it?
It's just me. I'm having a problem with my phone, so don't bother about me. I'll figure it out.
I'll send it. I'll make sure everyone gets it.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So this is you creating your own awesome agenda. The president calls the meeting to order. One tap of her gavel and make sure a quorum is present, because you can't have a business meeting without a quorum. Under opening, You've noticed I put a quote. Many clubs at this point have an inspiration, thought for the day, whatever. When you leave your meeting, do you remember what that thought was? How about putting a quote from a famous woman or not a famous woman on your agenda? And each member will take it home. Wednesday, I know we had when the member gave her quote, I thought, oh, gee, that's really nice. Got home, I don't remember what it was. But if I had it on paper, I could use it. Minutes. Think about sending a copy of the minutes out with your agenda so everyone has them and can read them ahead of time. Then all the president has to say is, you have received a copy of the minutes. Are there any corrections? If not, the minutes stand approved as emailed. Or if there are corrections, the minutes stand approved as corrected. Treasurer's report, again, send it out with the agenda and the minutes. Everyone can review ahead of time. At the meeting, the president says, you have received a copy of the treasurer's report. Are there any questions? If not, the report will be filed for audit, for review. Notice I said review. I don't think clubs have the books audited, but only reviewed by a committee or CPA. Also, they would say the treasurer's report is made a part of the minutes. You've saved time in there without somebody reading a bunch of stuff that nobody's paying attention to and can't remember, but they've got it in black and white. Next would come a report of the officers' board and standing committees. Any board recommendations would go right there. Any of your officers, if they have a report, it would go there. Standing committee would be next. Make sure the members know they are reporting and what their time limits are. That's really important, is the timing. Then you've got unfinished business, if any. Review the minutes from the previous meeting to see if any items were postponed to the next meeting, because that's when they would be picked up under unfinished business. And you've got new business. Anything new come before the club? Have announcements and then adjourn, hopefully within an hour. By using Robert's framework to craft your agenda, you'll set a tone for the meeting and hopefully keep everyone focused. Remember, when meetings are effective, we can achieve more, increase our collective impact, and further our mission. Now, I know in every club, I've been a Theroptimist for 40 years, and everybody has a variety of things that they put in their agenda. What I'm showing you is just what Robert says needs to be on your agenda. Everything else is stuff you put in. But remember, everything that goes in takes time. If you want to keep it within an hour, you've got to time and make sure you don't have a lot of extra stuff. I'm open for questions, suggestions, whatever.
Do you want me to leave this up?
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, ladies, any questions? You can talk.
I always have questions. I'm just curious to hear how other clubs feel about theirs. Like, I know when I was club president, I would kind of only put the stuff on that I felt like we needed to talk about that was timely. And I've been in other clubs where they go through every single committee every single time, even if there's nothing really happening. And so it just, even if you get to an item when they say, well, I don't have anything to report right now, that takes time, right? And
Exactly.
it adds up 2 minutes at a time or topics. I mean, do other people have like an agenda where they put everything on every time and just skip over it? Or are you only putting on what is relevant or needed for that particular meeting?
I put on what is relevant. I was really pleased to hear what Barbara said, because I feel like I'm doing exactly that. And you know what, following that, because I did, when I came on, I looked up Robert's rules and looked at it, and I kind of did my agendas like that. We used the prior year, this is the only time I've ever seen it, was last year, when they put on every single committee, and our meetings went really, really long. I have to say that our last meeting, we did all of the pertinent, information. And I told everyone that was giving a report that this wasn't a time for discussion, that this is a report. And if anybody has questions, they can ask, but not discussion about it. If they want to know more, they can contact the committee. So all the committees did their reports, and we also had a lot of fun at our meeting, because we had our fundraiser raffle. We were doing a fundraiser raffle. We did that during the meeting. And then we also ended up doing our happy dollars, but we only said, if instead of going around and having everybody do it, we just said, does anyone have anything they'd like to share for $1? So we had like only three people do that. And we also had, at that meeting, we had a club raffle, where at the beginning of the raffle of the meeting, everybody bought, if they wanted to, bought a ticket for a raffle that we had, prize there, small thing. And I was surprised. We got all of that done within an hour. And I was really surprised, but I think it has to do with not just having long discussions with, discussions about the committee reports, because they're really there for a report, not to discuss or debate anything. So I thought, I was really pleased. I was excited to tell Barbara that, because because we had talked, and I had said, well, we're, I've always get them done within an hour and a half, but I don't know if we could do it in an hour. Well, our last one, we really did. I mean, I don't know if it was a fluke or what, but it worked really well. And I only, like I said, put what you have to have in there and what I think is pertinent for the time. So that's all I can say, but that's all.
Does anyone, Karen, how often does your club meet?
We only meet once a month. We meet the first Wednesday of every month.
So every meeting is essentially a business meeting.
Yes, it is. And so we're trying to put, and we do try to do short programs within those meetings. We haven't right now, because we have so many other things going on. We have, a lot of things coming up right now. And so we just don't have time, but we plan to do, have some program meetings within it, programs within our business meeting, when we don't have as many other things on.
Yeah.
And then we have, our committees are very active. So they're meeting, 2 or 3, at least 2 times, usually a month.
That's good.
So we have at least one or 2 times a month they're meeting, and then we have our regular meeting. So someone has mentioned doing 2 meetings a month. I really don't know that our club, we would get enough people to do it, because they're already going to so many meetings. We have a lot of committee meetings, and then we just do a report on the committee, not discussing it at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of that's helpful, but.
Well, it's always nice to hear what other people are doing, and I find our meetings, I have yet a meeting that's been in an hour. They just become really unwieldy, and so we also only meet once a month, and we're trying to add in, the program to make it a little more interesting and entice people to come for something other than the routine business. But then, that just makes the meeting even longer, because we're not.
Well, like I said, I don't know if
managing
that
it
was
well.
I don't know if it was a fluke that we got done. It was just exactly an hour when we quit, and it was like, I was really surprised, because we had those extra things in there. We have the raffle that we don't normally have, and we had, and we used to do happy dollars where everybody went around the table and did it, or around the room and did it. But, and they wanted to start doing this club raffle. And I said, well, why don't we do them every other month, do the club raffle one month and the happy dollars the next month. And they were, no, we liked the happy dollars and we want to do the raffle. And I said, well, let's just ask if anybody wants to do a happy dollar rather than having people required to do it. So both of those things are voluntary, it's like, if you want to do the raffle, if you want to do happy dollars, but we don't take a lot of time to do it. So I don't know, the next meeting might be an hour and a half, because normally I could get them done within an hour and a half, look like an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes. But I was pleased that we were able to do it. I'm just hoping we can still do it as we move forward.
Karen,
Mhm.
your dinner meeting. So do you have the meeting itself is an hour, the business part of it, do you have a little time for social while you're eating or?
Yeah, we start like at 5:30.
Okay,
People come in and get what they want to eat and visit and stuff like that about at 5:30. And then we start the meeting at 6. Now
okay.
this meeting, I say we got it done in an hour, and we did, but we started, I look back at the minutes, and we started at, I don't know if y'all know Carol Tyrell, but
Yeah,
she was she was conducting the raffle thing, and she was like running around the room and talking to everybody, and I waited a little bit of time for her to do that. And we started the meeting about at 6:09,
okay,
and we ended the meeting at 7:10.
that's still good.
Yeah,
And you had a little time for social, and that's important too.
yeah.
I can remember back when I first joined Sir Optimus, like I'm going back about 40 years, and we were meeting at noontime. And I would watch the ladies, we were at the Tracy Inn, right in downtown Tracy. And I would watch some of the ladies at about 5 to 1 get up and leave. The meeting wasn't over, but they had offices they were getting back, like one was a travel agent, one went to it. So when I became president, the meetings were done at 1 o'clock because I knew those ladies had to leave. And one of the older members came up to me and she looked at me and she said, we meet until 1:15 or 1:20. And I said, Barb, that's okay. You ladies can sit here and chit chat, but the ladies who need to go to work have to leave. So I started a long time ago figuring that the business part has to be done in an hour. Those that can stay, wonderful, socialize. But those that have jobs, we need those ladies. So we have to make it so that they get to be part of the business, part of whatever. Otherwise, we're going to lose them, and we've been losing them.
Well, I will say that I don't mean to keep talking, but when our like people start coming in about 5:30 and visiting and getting what they want to eat and everything, and then when the meeting is over, like I said, it was over at 7:10, and there were some people that were out the door right then, and then there were other people that were visiting and doing other their own committee, talking to people about committees and different things like that. And it was just about 15-20 minutes they were there still, but the meeting was over, but they were still there. So it's like basically if you were there for the whole thing, like everything, you'd be there from 5:30 to 7:30, but that's by choice. The meeting was only an hour.
Right. That's the important part. Jan.
Hello, Miss Barbara. This is Charlotte. Did someone
Hi.
else raise their hand? Hi. I don't want to interrupt. Was someone else getting ready to talk?
It's okay.
I'm sorry, Jan. So if I heard correctly, I thought I heard you say, Barbara, that according to Robert's rules, it is recommended to send the agenda out a week prior to the meeting. Is that what you said? Yeah, that's an aha for me because we haven't been doing it that way. And I could see that being really important, really key, because whoever's on the agenda needs to make sure they have their report ready. And this and that. And then I'm curious if you mentioned, because I might not have heard, I was juggling getting in and out of the car, but did you mention a certain time limit per committee report, or do you just kind of monitor that based on how many committee reports you have on your agenda?
I look at the agenda, ask how much time, kind of looking at time, and basically you're telling your committee people how much time they have on the agenda. Just like when you're doing your district meeting agenda, you tell the committee people you have 10 minutes, you have 20 minutes. So basically you're doing the same thing at your club. Your committee's reports are, well, of course, shorter, but you have 5 minutes, you have 10 minutes so that you can time your agenda within the hour. So
Gotcha.
that's why the extra little things, if you can not have minutes read and treasurer's reports read, and you can get through them faster, it gives you more time to do the business at hand.
That's great. Yeah, thank you.
Jan, do you have a question or do you have a comment?
No, I was just going back to what you were saying as far as accommodating the people who your members are and making sure that, you know, they can come in and be a part of it and then get back to whatever they need to do. That's one of the reasons that we're still doing our board meeting and our business meeting via Zoom. We have members, we're Watsonville Club, but we have members that are from Salinas, Gilroy, Santa Cruz. At different times they can be in all of those different places while we're having a meeting, and it saves them tremendous amount of time either being on the road, and it's almost impossible to pick a time that's good for everyone to meet in person. That's why we're trying to do a once a month sort of a social thing after work, but again a short hour and a half at the most. But it's just to accommodate folks because we need all of those members, particularly the women who are younger and working still. And so we want to make sure that we're accommodating that.
We have gone back. I belong to the Modesto Club and I live in Tracy, and we're back to meetings, but like Wednesday, we're hybrid. So Wednesday, instead of traveling from Tracy to Modesto, I stayed home and did it on Zoom.
Yeah, we've done some of our social things hybrid too. If we have a program or something like that, we'll Zoom it for folks that maybe can't make it in, and they really have appreciated that. Yeah. I'm wondering when the region is going to do hybrid district meetings and hybrid region meetings, because a lot of us would be willing to even pay a registration fee.
Yeah, we've talked about it, Jan, and we're actually gonna try to do it for District 1, though I would love to see you in
Oh, good.
It's been kind of a Charlotte Charlotte can attest because she has her act together, but it's still a little bit of a struggle to find places with the right amount of staff that can accommodate. We're not quite out of the COVID staffing crisis and all that. So it's been a little harder than normal to find venues. And then, you know, not knowing the venue makes it harder to plan that aspect of it, not knowing what audio visuals and things we have to work with. But I suggested it at our last board meeting, and I know that we're going to attempt to do it in District 1. I don't know if the others are going to try, but and mainly that was at your request because you asked me about that a while ago, and I understand why it's important. So, you know, and it's going to be trial and error, and the bigger the meeting, the harder it is to get the full experience. But we're going to try.
Even just to hear it, you know, we can't see it all. Even just to hear it would be a benefit to a good number of people. We had a meeting yesterday, last night, and Pat, you know, had shared the call with us, and several of our members said, you know, because of the distance, they can't make it, but they'd be happy to pay to attend virtually. So just a thought, and I appreciate you looking into it.
Yep, understand.
You know, Barbara, you know that I'm in the Central Valley online club. So
Right.
we're just messing with our agenda right now, trying to figure out, because we were doing 2 meetings, a board meeting and a business meeting, and we've only got 12 people in the club yet. So it was kind of redundant because so many people were in the board meeting. So we've decided to do the board meeting first and then go into the business meeting after that. So I think it'll work. It sounded good last night when we talked about it. So,
You gotta do what works.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right, because most of you're the same people having to do both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear a few hats. So.
Well, we kind of have that right too. I mean, we still haven't met in person. I was telling Barbara, we actually have our first in-person meeting next week. And so it's certainly every month we're declining attendance. We're down to kind of the same 6 people at both the board meeting and the business meeting. And so it is extremely redundant and extremely frustrating to hear the same stuff over and over. And so I really feel like there's got to be a way to streamline between the two, so that it's not so repetitive. I mean, the board doesn't have to cover every single committee report. They need to talk about what they need to take action on, right? And that's a meeting in of itself that we could talk about that could be streamlined in a different way than the club business meeting. By following Barbara's points, but still focusing your time on the items that need discussion and potential voting versus let's just cover everything every time. Karen, we see you now.
You know what was happening is I could see myself, but I couldn't see anybody else. And I was like, I'm on my phone, like I said, and before I've used my phone for this before, but I couldn't find any access to anything like I wanted to. And then, so I wanted to apologize for not raising my hand and just blurting out because I couldn't see anything. I couldn't tell what was going on. Now I can see all of you.
It's okay.
Now that it's at the end, but anyway, so I apologize. I apologize for that.
No problem. This is just a nice group of ladies having a nice little chit chat.
We're just so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
I keep seeing the B. Pasalian. Is that Birdie?
It's
Who's here?
Birdie. It's got to
Yes.
be Birdie.
I thought she was in the Philippines.
I was just back last night.
Well,
Oh,
welcome
wow.
back. I've been enjoying your Facebook posts.
So I'm still jet lagging. That's why I was just listening.
That's understandable.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions, comments, I
Um,
thank you, ladies.
but-
Yes.
Just a quick one, something that Judy said, and I can't remember where I read it. It almost seems like it was something that SIA had put out or we'd had in a workshop. And it was talking about the difference between the things that should be discussed at a board meeting versus the thing that should be discussed at a business meeting and how they shouldn't be duplicate. Board meetings should really be bigger picture items. It would be interesting to have a one versus the other kind of a discussion on a workshop. Which makes
Maybe
just
next
more
year.
work for you, Judy. We have one more week for this year.
I've already had like 3 things people want to add on. I'm like,
For
oh,
next year.
maybe next
Anyway, just a thought. It
or
might-
Jan, I think of things like that as always good topics for President's Roundtable.
Oh, yeah.
That's the right group of people.
Yeah.
And I'll
Right.
Charlotte, make note of that.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah, 'cause
Great idea.
that's a great forum
Good
and
idea.
a
Mhm.
more informal discussion where that kind of thing would be very helpful.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Barbara.
That's okay. That's okay. Any other questions, comments?
I just
thank you, ladies.
Sorry.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just gonna say, I appreciate, this type of thing where we can actually share after and getting good information. I just appreciate it. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
And we can always learn something new. And I have a couple of points to take back, Barbara. So thank you very much.
You're very
Yes.
welcome anytime.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Barbara G.
No problem. Thank
We
you.
look forward
ladies.
to your
Thanks
next
for your time.
workshop, which I don't know what it is, but I know you're doing more, so.
See
Bye,
you.
ladies.
Bye.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
ladies.
Bye.
Karen,